Hello everyone, this is the story of what if Naruto crashed into the shaking grip of Sakura. Love of my life. She looked at herself one last time in the mirror, making sure that every strand of hair was in the right place. Checking if her clothes had no wrinkles on it. Her forehead protector was placed on her head, acting as a headband for her long pink hair. Her green eyes and her pink hair just adds up to her beauty, though her large forehead may catch more attention than any of her other aspects. But at least it wasn't as big as it was when she was just a child. All those years of being teased by other kids because of her large forehead still taunted her. Like hell, as if she would let anybody tease her about it again. If anybody with guts would do, they'll instantly get one big black eye if they're lucky enough, that is. Finally satisfied by the way she looked, she had left her apartment. She had to go to the Ninja Academy. Today she was finally gonna meet her team. She was very excited. She greatly hoped that she would belong to the same team with the love of her life. She blushed at the thought of it. How wonderful would it be to have him in the same team? Always together day by day, training together and maybe personally teaching her some techniques. Then maybe he would develop some feelings towards her, and then he would admit his undying love to her. And on that day they would have their first beep. It would be perfect. Her blush intensifies. It would be a dream come true. She continued her walk. Up ahead she saw a blonde-haired girl in a blue, or was it purple, dress coming out of a flower shop. Knowing perfectly well who the girl is, her good mood suddenly vanished. Her composure still stayed. This was not gonna ruin her day. The blonde girl saw her and had a grin plastered on her face. Well, good morning there, Sakura, the girl said with a smug, her voice not exactly into the greeting. Good morning to you too, I know, Sakura said in the same manner. They walked side by side. They were both calm, but words still flowed between the two. The kind that seems innocent enough but still held venom in them. Ino was the first to speak. Good thing you were able to pass the exam, Sakura. Now you're a genin. Luck must have really been on your side, she said in a somewhat mocking voice. Another smug smile was on her lips. Of course Sakura wasn't gonna stand for it. It wasn't luck, Ino. I'm really just good at this thing, she said in her calm but firm voice. She had remained her composure. This was not gonna ruin her day. They still walked side by side. No other words came from them as they continued their walk. They were slow at first, but each step became faster and faster and faster, until they were literally running straight to the Ninja Academy. Dust trailing after them. The door snapped open, revealing two panting female ninjas. I came first, they both cried out at the same time. The two glared at each other before going in their separate ways in their classroom. Sakura was turning her head from side to side, seemingly looking for somebody. Her face brightened and a smile was placed on her face. She hurried to a seat where a certain boy was seating. What luck, the seat beside him was empty. She guessed this wasn't such a bad day after all. She was about to sit, but when suddenly her love of her life stood up and stared at the boy who was seating at the seat at his back. He was staring at the other boy intently. The other boy was somewhat annoyed by his actions, told him to get lost. It looked like they were gonna stay at that position for the whole day. Sakura herself was getting irritated by this. She was going to stop this nonsense herself. She wanted to sit beside her love. She had no time for this. Ops, sorry. A boy front the front desk of her love had pushed him into the other boy he had been staring at, and thus causing them to beep each other. Both boys were shocked as hell. All of Sasuke's fangirls were screaming in horror, as their Sasuke-kun had been violated. Sakura was also horror-struck, not because of Sasuke but because of Naruto. The love of her life, aka Naruto, had his first beep, and it wasn't her. It was to a boy. For God's sakes, to a boy. My first beep, she was screaming in her mind. Not just her but also inner Sakura. What the hell, to a boy? There go. One of her dreams shattered like glass. Naruto, you baka, I am gonna kill you, screamed the raven-haired boy in shock and anger. But the blonde boy didn't notice him. He was too busy in trying to pay away whatever poison that beep could have brought him. Sakura was too depressed to notice that Sasuke's fangirls were trying to beat Naruto to the pulp. Good thing that Iruka, their class now ex-teacher, came just in time. Alright class, settle down. All of Sasuke's fangirls had went to their seat but not before giving Naruto death glares. As much as Naruto didn't wanted to, he had to sit next to Sasuke. Considering there were no other seats left, when Sakura heard Iruka talk she had snapped out of her depressed stance. She was still lucky at least the seat next to her, love, is still vacant. So she had seated herself next to him. Sakura tried to concentrate on other things to ward off what had happened earlier. So she had lost one part of her dream, there were still others, right? But that was one of the best parts. Oh, how she hated this. Why does this have to happen? Maybe it would be better if he had beeped a girl. Now that would be a lot more normal. But to a boy, the love of her life had beeped a boy. At least it was not intentional. And of all boys it just had to be Uchiha Sasuke, aka the human ice cube. That boy doesn't have any emotions. At least that's what she thinks. She had known what the Uchiha had gone through. The death of the Uchiha clan because of his brother. She knows that's reason why he's like what he is now. She somewhat understands him. Her parents had died when she was only 6 because of a mission given to them by the Hokage. She was all alone since then. She had no friends and the only friend that she had at that time was Ino. But the said girl had broken their friendship all because of a certain raven-haired boy. Ino had thought that Sakura had a crush on Sasuke. She had told Ino back then that she had a crush on somebody, but she didn't tell her who it was. Ino was pursuing Sakura to tell her who the guy is. And so, flashback. Come on Sakura, tell me. Who is he? Who is he? Ino asked this to Sakura for the 100th time today. Ever since she had told her this morning that she had a crush on somebody she couldn't keep her mouth shut. Ino had been asking all day long. Ino-chan, I'm not sure if I should be telling this to you. The girl with pink hair that was probably 7 years old was fidgeting with the hem of her black dress. Should I tell her? What if she doesn't like him? Come on Sakura, what are you hesitating about? I'm your friend, promise I won't tell this to anybody. Lifting her right at the level of her head, she had made a promise of friendship to the girl. Sakura sigh in defeat. Ino W. As good at this, making her tell everything, thing. They were in the field of the Ninja Academy. Classes just ended. Sakura looked around if anybody else was there. She wanted to make sure no one else would know. Seeing it was only the two of them in the area, she gathered all her courage. She opened her mouth but no words came out. She was too nervous. She tried again, but still no words came out. Ino was getting frustrated. Well, come on. Tell me. Tell me. She tried to think up of a way to let her friend know without making it come out of her mouth. She couldn't use the damn thing. Then it hit her. She knew that her crush would always go to a certain place after class every day, so surely he would be there today. Ino-chan. I can't tell it to you. But there is one way you could find out. She inhaled deeply. Remember that swing in front of the academy? Ino nodded her head but she was confused. You will be able to see him there. With that Sakura ran off to her apartment, leaving a confused Ino behind her. End of flashback. By the next day Ino had officially ended their friendship and had deemed them rivals. Sakura was shocked to at her friend's decision. What had happened? Well, it turns out that it wasn't Naruto that was on the swing that day. Guess who it was? No other than the Uchiha prodigy himself. Ino had thought that her crush was Sasuke and broke their friendship because of it. She knew that Ino had a major crush on the boy. But what on earth had made her think that she would have a crush on him as well? Just because 80% of the female populace in Konoha is swooning over the Uchiha doesn't mean that she would too. True, the boy is very handsome. With his hot onyx eyes and his cool composure any girl would drool all over him. But not her. He was too cold, too impassive, and it seems like he doesn't care for anybody at all. He was too self-centered. She didn't like the boy at all. And the incident with Ino just added to her dislike towards the boy. Team 7 Uzumaki Naruto, the said boy cheered as his name was being called. Making Sakura come back to reality. It was Naruto that she likes because of so many reasons. Haruno Sakura. By the said of her name after Naruto's, she was at the peak of ultimate happiness. She couldn't hide the smile on her face. Alright, her dream came true. She was now daydreaming of the possibilities that could occur between the two of them, now that they were in the same team. Her happiness could last forever and Uchiha Sasuke, their ex-sensei had concluded. Sakura's eyes shot open at the name their sensei had said. What? Both Naruto and Sakura screamed in union. This could not be. Being in the same team with the human ice cube. No, 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 no. This could not be happening. Not the human ice cube. Sakura's mind went haywire. She sat down to her seat trying to consume what just happened. On the other hand, Naruto went wild. He would not put up with this. He will not allow himself to be with the same team with the Uchiha bastard. What? With that human ice cube? No way. Take him to another team. He demanded, pointing his finger accusingly at the Uchiha but looking at his ex-sensei with intense fury. But Iruka just sighed and remained calm as if he knew this was going to happen. Naruto, you know I can't do that. Each one of you had been sorted out into each of your team to fit with each other. This decision has been made with the help of the Hokage himself, so you have no right to complain. His ex-sensei said in a voice half filled with authority and half filled with annoyance. Naruto went back to his seat but not exactly admitting defeat. Sakura looked over at Naruto. She was glad he too didn't want the Uchiha to be in their team. She sighed. Okay Sakura, just look on the bright side. You have Naruto in the same team, you should be very happy. She smiled. That's right, I have Naruto, just ignore Sasuke. Sasuke was annoyed as always. As if he wanted to be in the same team with that baka. This is gonna be annoying. He thought over the situation. He looked over at his only female teammate. His right eyebrow slightly quirked. So this girl didn't want him to be in the same team as him. Weird. This girl would have been screaming in over happiness, giggling with glee, and dancing like an idiot just to know that she would be in the same team as him. Is she a lesbian or something? Sasuke shook that thought out of his head. No way. It couldn't be. She's too pretty to be a lesbo, WTF. What the hell is he thinking about? Like he would care if she's a lesbian. So what if she isn't screaming in glee to know that she's in the same team as he is? Like he cares. It would be better this way. She wouldn't bother him during his training. Iruka had signed all of the students to their respective teams. Okay then, your senseis will come to you after a few minutes. By then you will be introduced to each other. Minutes had passed and all of the other team's senseis came to take them. Except for Team 7. An hour had passed but their sensei hasn't arrived yet. Another hour but still nothing. And another. What the hell? Where the heck is that sensei of ours? He should be here by now. Naruto complained loudly. Shut up, Dobi. Sasuke hasn't moved from his position since Iruka had left. He doesn't seem annoyed at the fact that their sensei is 3 hours late. But the truth is he was screaming like hell in his head because of it, but still remained his cool outer shell. What did you say, bastard? Naruto screamed at him in reply. Sakura was mocking up her mind whether she should break the discussion between the two boys or just sit there and watch the two bicker endlessly. Okay, she should stop these two. She didn't want their Junin sensei to see them at this kind of situation. After all, first impressions last. This was not the impression she want their sensei to have in mind for the rest of their lives. Nay, Naruto-kun, maybe we shouldn't be quarreling like this. What if Junin sensei might see us? What would he think of us? Sakura said in the most calmest voice that he had. She didn't want Naruto to think that she was siding with Sasuke. Naruto looked at her and then smiled a cheeky smile, which made Sakura blush madly. Oh, my gosh, he smiled at me, she screamed in her head. Inner Sakura. What the hell are you talking about? He smiles like that at everybody. But still, Sakura was trying to contradict what her inner self had said. True, Naruto smiles at almost everybody, but to her every smile from him was like an escape from the harsh world they were all living in. Puff. Sakura looked to her side and found a tall man with silver hair, wearing a black mask on his face and his forehead protector covering his left eye. The man was covered with chalk. It turned out that while she was thinking over Naruto's smile, the said boy had placed a chalkboard eraser between the door and the doorway. So when the man opened the door, the easer had dropped on his head. Ha! Capital punishment for being late. Ha ha, can't believe you'd fallen for that. With an immature glint in his eyes, Naruto mocked the tall man in front of him. Let me say what's my first impression. I hate you guys. the tall man said casually. Naruto looked at him in disbelief while Sakura held a worried look on her first. She was afraid that this would happen. The three rookie genins were seating on cemented staircase somewhere outside the ninja academy. Sakura tried to sit as close to Naruto as possible, which is unfortunately is still 2 meters apart. On the other hand, Sasuke seems uninterested of his surroundings. The man with silver hair spoke. Alright, let's introduce ourselves. At Sakura's left she saw Sasuke just looked at the Junin with a bored face. She wondered if the boy will ever get interested in anything or if there is something he's interested in right now. She continued staring at him in her curiosity. Sasuke felt a pair of eyes staring at him. He looked at his right and caught his only female teammate observing him closely. He saw her look away when he caught her red-handed. He snorted. Girls, they're all the same. He thought and went back to listening to the tall silver-haired man. Damn, he caught me. He probably thinks I'm just like any other girl, just drooling over him. Sakura sighed. She did not want Sasuke to think that she just like his fangirls. Her face slightly frowns at that thought. She saw how Sasuke's fangirls would chase the boy all day just to ask him to either go out on a date with them or to accept their undying love for him. She was not anything like those girls. Never 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 will she be anything like those girls. And most of all, she will never ever fall in love with the Uchiha boy. Yep, she will not fall in love with him even though his hot onyx eyes could make you faint, even if his cool composure and widely known smirk can make any girl go gaga in love with him, even if Sakura shook her head violently. What the heck was she thinking about? Was she mocking him or was it the opposite of that? Snapped out of it Sakura. Naruto's the one that you like, not Sasuke. It's Naruto Naruto Naruto. She only stopped in her chanting when she heard their sensei talk. Okay then, my name is Hatake Kakashi, I like a lot of things and that's about it. Now it's your turn, you boy with blonde hair. Pointing at Naruto, the said boy stood up from the steps. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, 12 years old. I love to eat ramen and misa's my favorite. My ambition is to be the next Hokage of the village. Naruto said in a loud and proud voice. Kakashi just nodded. Okay, you boy with black hair. You're next. Sasuke didn't even stand up like what Naruto did. He just stayed where he was in his introduction. Uchiha Sasuke. I don't like anything. There are a lot of things I dislike. My goal is to kill a certain man and to revive my clan. He said as he glared coldly at their sensei. As expected, Kakashi thought. Now you girl with pink hair, what's your name? He pointed at Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. My ambition is to be a good shinobi to make my parents proud. She blushed intently before continuing. There's a certain somebody that I like and I love him with all my heart. She finished. Naruto and Kakashi stared at the girl by what she said. Sakura turned at Sasuke to avoid their gaze. But not actually looking at the boy. Sakura saw Sasuke snorted at her. What the did he thought that he was the guy she was talking about just because she had looked at him. The nerve of him. Who does he think he is to think of such a ridiculous thing? Sasuke turned back to Kakashi after giving her a disgusted glare. Fine, think of whatever you wanna think. I don't care anymore. Now she was sure than ever. She does not like the Uchiha at all. Now we're done for the day. Meet me at training area number 5. At 5 in the morning and don't eat breakfast, that's an order. With that Kakashi disappeared with a puff of smoke. What, that's it? He made us wait for 3 hours for that. Naruto stood up from the steps and had a deep frown on his face. He was not happy. Shut up, Dobi, Sasuke said again to him. Naruto was about to retort Sasuke by what is said. He opened his mouth ready to call the Uchiha a bastard like before. Naruto-kun is not a Dobi. The two boys instantly turned their heads to the source of the sound and found their only female teammate standing on the spot. They were in disbelief. Was she really the one who said that? Sakura herself was surprised by her action, but decided to stand up for it. She was not going to let that Uchiha talk to her love like that, especially in front of her. Was Sasuke's ears deceiving him? Did a girl Jew saint retort against him by what he had said? Unbelievable. No way, impossible. The Uchiha was a bit surprised. Okay, so he really was surprised by this, but he didn't show it. There was a first in everything. And this was the first time a girl had retorted against him. The great Uchiha prodigy. He thought that this girl had a crush on him. Wasn't he the one she was referring to earlier? Then why is she defending the Dobi like that? What the? Why is he so bothered by this? He shouldn't care less. Sasuke still remained impassive. He showed that he was not affected by this at all. He placed his hands in his pockets and continued to stare at Sakura. Naruto was shocked for a moment, but then a huge foxy grin was plastered on his face. Did you hear that, Sasuke-tem? I'm not a Dobi. Sakura-chan said it herself. Isn't that right, Sakura-chan? After facing Sasuke with his newly gained triumph, he then faced Sakura. Sakura was again surprised. Naruto just called her with the suffix chan. That only means one thing: he's now thinking of her as someone close to him. She smiled shyly before replying. Hi, Naruto-kun, she said reassuringly. Naruto turned back to Sasuke with another triumphant grin on his face. Ha, in your face, bastard. Hump, whatever, Dobi, I'm leaving. Sasuke turned and left the two behind. Ha, can't admit defeat, huh? Naruto was still grinning over his victory over the Uchiha B. Oop then turned to Sakura, who was still surprised on the situation. Nay, Sakura-chan, thanks for standing up for me on that bastard, he said, still smiling at her. Sakura looked down, not able to face and fidgeted with her dress. She then faced Naruto directly. It was nothing, Naruto-kun, he had no right to talk to you that way anyhow, she said and smiled her sweetest smile. Things were going perfectly. She was right. She should just ignore Sasuke. Naruto was now noticing her. Nay, Sakura-chan, do you wanna eat ramen with me? Naruto invited all of the suddenly. Sakura stared at him with wide eyes. Did he just ask her out on a date? Inner Sakura. Hell yeah. Sure thing, Naruto-kun, I would love to, she said very happily. She could believe how great this day was turning out. Let's go then, Naruto said in a more enthusiastic voice. So they walked side by side to Ichiraku. They were just too occupied with each other to notice a pair of onyx eyes that were glaring at them somewhere amongst the trees. Team 7 begins. Sasuke's revelations. Sakura walked to her apartment with a smile on her face. She had never been happier in all her life. She and Naruto just had lunch at Ichiraku. So it wasn't a perfect date. To be exact, it wasn't even a real date in the first place. But what the heck, she got to spend some time with him, and that's all that mattered. She looked up at the sky, while reminiscing over the things that happened at Ichiraku with Naruto. Flashback. One more please, Naruto blathered out after eating his 5th bowl of ramen. Sakura just stared at him in wonder, though she was not at all surprised. She had known for quite some time ago that Naruto really likes ramen. But to be honest enough, this is the first time she saw the boy eat so much like this. Nay, Sakura-chan, what's wrong? Don't you like eating ramen? Naruto asked while some noodles are still dangling from his mouth. Startled by his sudden questioning, Sakura had jumped a bit on her seat. Ah, it was nothing, Naruto-kun. And don't worry, the ramen tastes great, she said in her sweet voice and smiled at him. She wasn't that fond of ramen, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't like the stuff. And if it's for Naruto, she would like anything that he likes as long as it's not creepy and crawly. Eventually Naruto went back to eating. She couldn't help but watch his every action. Naruto then again turned to her and had a confused and curious look on his face. Sakura-chan, can I ask you something? He asked her, his face holding so much childish innocence that she didn't think anybody could say no to his request. What is it, Naruto-kun? Facing him with her own innocent look, the two stared at each other for a few seconds. Naruto seemingly looking intently at her as if her face held tea. He answered to his question that he has not yet asked. Sakura couldn't take his gaze anymore and had blushed greatly. If this was going to continue, she'd be red as a tomato in a matter of a few more seconds. I was just wondering, why aren't you drooling over Sasuke like all of the other girls do? He finally asked his question to her. Not that I'm praising that bastard or anything, but normally IRLS like you would be head over heels in love with that guy. If it isn't him that you like, then who was the guy you were talking about earlier this morning? Placing his hands behind his head, Naruto waited to get his answer from her. She didn't expect for him to ask that question. Her heart pounded uncontrollably in her chest. Her blush intensified by 10 folds, now she really did look like a tomato. Her mind was racing. What to do? What to do? Should I tell him now? What if he doesn't like me? What if he would avoid me? Her heart pounded so fast that it looks like she was going to have a heart attack. She inhaled deeply before looking at him, her face still red as a tomato. Naruto-kun, I don't like Sasuke because. She fidgeted with her dress, her courage starting to leave her. She inhaled deeply again. Because there's someone special that's already here in my heart. And that pay person is. It's okay, Sakura-chan. Naruto interrupted before she was able to finish her confession. You don't have to force yourself to tell it to me. After all, it is something that's kind of personal to you, he said and then grinned at her. Oh, Sakura lowered her head. She was a bit disappointed. This could have been her chance to finally confess to Naruto on how she feels for him. Whoever that guy is, he sure is lucky. Any guy would be happy to know that someone like you likes him that much, Sakura-chan. Even me. She lifted her head. Did she just hear it right? You mean it, Naruto-kun? She asked softly and slowly to him. She was afraid that she was just hearing things. You would be happy that someone like me would like you. Of course, Sakura-chan, who wouldn't? He assured her with his foxy grin. Sakura felt that she could die now. She was so overly happy that she swears to Kami that she would dance like a complete moron in front of everybody just to thank him for this great happening in her life. She could almost cry. She smiled at him with her most brightest smile ever. Arigato, Naruto-kun. End flashback. If she was like any other girl in Konoha, she would have been completely discouraged by his immature and loud behavior. But he was not like any other girl in Konoha. She knew that underneath his immature behavior there was something more to him. Something that other people won't see in him the way she sees it. If only people would open their eyes. And their heart, she thought sadly. Slowly her smile fades. The next morning, after waiting for their sensei for 3 hours, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura stared at their sensei as he gives off the instructions. Sakura looked at the 2 bells that Kakashi was holding, then to the small timer. So, we have to get those bells before lunchtime, she thought, then looked back at his sensei. Wait, from him. But her alarm thoughts were cut off when Kakashi had disappeared. Naruto-kun, Sasuke. She tried to warn, but the 2 boys were already off in search for their sensei. Darn, they don't understand. And she went off in search for her teammates. After a few minutes of searching, Sakura had finally found Naruto. The boy was dangling on a rope tied on his legs. She took out a kunai and had cut the rope. She expected Naruto to land on his feet, but he landed on his face. Naruto-kun, Gomen, are you all right? She asked, alarmed, and went to his aid. Hey, I'm okay, Sakura-chan. He stood up. Wait till I get my hands on that masked bastard, I'll show him. He took action to leave to again look for Kakashi, but a hand had gripped his arm. He looked back, and saw Sakura looking at him very seriously. Naruto-kun, wait, we're no match against him, she warned. Naruto completely faced her and she let go of his arm. What do you mean, Sakura-chan? I'll explain later. First we have to look for Sasuke. Sakura saw the confused look on his face. Why look for that bastard? We don't need him, Naruto shouted. But we do, at least just for now. She desperately tried to make him understand. If she wasn't mistaken, they only have 2.5 hours left, judging by the position of the sun. They had no other choice. As of now they needed each other for this. Naruto saw the seriousness and desperation in her eyes. Okay, let's go look for that bastard. Then turned to leave. Sakura smiled and followed him to look for the Uchiha. After a few minutes, Sakura felt a strong surge of chakra nearby. They're near, she thought. She paused for a moment as she felt a faint bolt of chakra from below. They got near a clearing and saw Sasuke turning around his head, seemingly searching for something. Suddenly it hit her. Below, she screamed. A startled Sasuke looked at her, but it was too late. Sasuke was pulled down by a pair of hands to the ground. Damn, they have to leave. It was too risky staying here. Naruto-kun, let's go. Before the said boy could react, Sakura immediately grabbed his arm and had dashed off away from the clearing, completely ignoring Sasuke. Sasuke saw the leaving presence of his two teammates, his face showed an angry frown. Whether it was because his two teammates had left him behind or because this Eli K. Junin in front of him had outwitted him in battle, he couldn't tell. No, it was the second reason. It was because this Junin had beaten him, that's the reason. No more no less. Kakashi looked WN at the raven-haired boy on the ground and then to the path where his two other students had fled. He smirked underneath his mask. Interesting, he thought. Hey Sasuke, that girl with pink hair, she said she was a Haruno, right? He asked Sasuke, but his eyes were still on the same path. The said boy didn't reply, instead he just snorted at the masked Junin. Oh well, he didn't confirmation anyway. Let's see where this will lead to. The silver-haired Junin vanished with a gush of wind and some leaves, leaving an angry and dumbfounded Sasuke behind. Sakura and Naruto were in a part of the forest, both were panting heavily. Sakura lifted her head to where they had run away from. She didn't feel anything that was coming, so she thought it was slightly safer now. She composed herself and started to think seriously. This will never work. They really needed the Uchiha. If it was just her and Naruto, they stand no chance against the Junin. And even if they had him, there was still a huge chance that they would fail. Her face frowned in the fading of her hope, her hands clenched. It was happening again, she's losing it. She's losing her faith in herself, her faith in others. This was her weakness. She never had believed in herself fully. Why am I so weak? She shook her head, trying to erase the thought that passed by it. I'm not weak. I'm not weak, she screamed in her mind. She promised herself that she would never be weak. She turned to Naruto. Naruto-kun, I have a plan. Naruto turned to look at her. But we'll be really needing Sasuke for this. Naruto just looked at her wide-eyed in her explanation. Okay, it's like this. You go look for Junin Sensei and distract him as you can, but don't get caught. Use Kage Bunshin. She whispered, not wanting anybody to know her plan. While you do that, I'll go and get Sasuke. If you hear an explosion coming from the east, that's the signal that you must get away from him and head west, the way to the memorial of the village. Wait for me and Sasuke there. But why are you gonna make the explosion at east? Isn't the place where Sasuke is at west? Why don't you make the explosion there to lessen the trouble? Naruto asked one question after another. To distract him, she said in a firm voice. If I make the explosion at west, he'll be wondering what made it and we'll be heading at that direction to find out. By then we'll get caught. But if I make it at east, he'd be heading there and we'll be able to reach the memorial on time to think of a plan to beat him and get those bells. Understand? She waited for his answer. After a few seconds, Naruto nodded his head. Good, let's go. We only have 2 hours left in our hands. The two genins went off in the fulfillment of Sakura's plan. Naruto saw Kakashi in another clearing in the forest. He was hiding in the leaves of a tree. He grinned. Even if he didn't fully understand Sakura's plan, it didn't matter to him as long as he gets to beat that masked bastard. He did a bunshin of himself and went on in attacking Kakashi. Kakashi saw him coming. Naruto went closer and closer to him, but Kakashi didn't move an inch. He continued in reading his perverted book. And just when Naruto was about to make contact with his fist to Kakashi's face, the Junin just step-sided him, causing the blonde boy to hit the ground painfully and suddenly disappeared with a puff of smoke. Kage Bunshin, Kakashi said casually. After that, 2 more Narutos appeared in front of him. Hey you, don't underestimate me. I'm going to be the next Hokage of this village and you're gonna bow down before me. The Bunshins declared boastfully at him. Kakashi didn't seem moved by anything he said. He took one look at the boy, then went back to his reading without saying a word. A vain twitch on both of the Bunshins' heads, seeing that this man in front of them was paying no attention to him. Prepare yourself. They screamed in union and went to attack the Junin. With a few side steps, Kakashi easily had dodged them. The Bunshins quickly disappeared and the real Naruto was getting annoyed. He was starting to forget Sakura's plan as his patience was thinning. Well, what are you waiting for? I'm getting bored, Kakashi said in his always lazy voice, which had even more irked the blonde boy. But what really boiled his blood was when Kakashi yawned. That broke what was left from his patience. He lifted himself up from the branch that he was on and was about to confront the Junin personally, now completely forgetting about their plan until Boom. An explosion was heard from the east part of the forest. Suddenly Naruto's mind came back to the plan. He saw Kakashi heading to where the explosion had occurred. A very visible grin was plastered on Naruto's face. Sakura's plan was working. He quickly jumped from tree to tree heading to the memorial of the village. 15 minutes earlier, after jumping from tree to tree, Sakura had landed a few feet where Sasuke was stuck under the ground. She turned her head from side to side slowly to see and feel any other presence besides from hers and Sasuke's. There wasn't anybody else. Good. She smiled, then quickly made it to where Sasuke was. Sasuke saw a mass of pink heading his way. Cherry petals. He looked closer. His vision was slightly impaired because of staying underground too long. Slowly his vision cleared and now was able to confirm what was heading at him. Sakura, he said in a somewhat strangled voice. The pressure of the earth around him was strangling him. Shish. Keep your voice down. She whispered. She knelt in front of him and touched the ground that was surrounding him with both hands. Her face frowned in seriousness. What are you doing? He asked her, all confused by her actions. She didn't reply to his question. Instead she asked her own question. Sasuke, can you move your hands under there? Sakura asked him but was looking on the same ground. Wasn't that Kichi Nadal's song? Lol XD earlier. Why? What are you planning? Sasuke couldn't see the logic in all of this and was starting to get annoyed. Stop asking questions and answer me. Sakura snapped to him. They were running out of time and all this Uchiha could do is ask her useless questions. Sasuke was obviously surprised. First this girl had disagreed with him, now she was yelling at his face. What's wrong with this girl? He asked mentally. Well, we don't have much time. Sasuke snapped out of his reverie. He nodded, sweeping aside his previous thoughts. Though it was hard to move underground, he was just able to move his hands. Alright then. Kakashi Sensei used Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, inner decapitation technique, on you. It's gonna be hard to get you out of there. I'll be needing your help. Sakura asked in such seriousness that Sasuke couldn't help but start to erase some of his doubts on this girl. Take note, start to erase. Position your hands upwards, then concentrate all of your chakra there. Sakura said, now adding pressure on the ground near him. Sasuke was puzzled. What? You don't trust me? It was more of a statement than a question. Don't get me annoyed, Uchiha. Alright, I'll go along with whatever you're planning to do, but I'm not giving any favors. This better work, he muttered loudly in so much arrogance. Inner Sakura. What the hell? How dare this bastard say that in front of me? If Sakura had more time in her hands she would just love kick his big fat arrogant head. This Uchiha was making her inner self go loose. But just as she said, they don't have much time. Are you ready? Sakura took that as a yes. They both closed their eyes and concentrated their chakra at their palms. Underground Sasuke's hands were glowing. With chakra, while above ground Sakura's hands did the same. Seconds passed and just when it seems like nothing was happening, the ground cracked open, finally giving way. Sasuke slowly pulled himself up from the ground. His facial expression was as usual unreadable. He looked over to his pink-haired teammate about to say something but stopped as he saw her looking another way, completely ignoring him. We have to go, Sakura said as she headed west. We need to go to the memorial. Naruto-kun is waiting for us there. Boom. An explosion came from the other side of the forest that alarmed the young Uchiha. Let's go, he heard Sakura screamed. He was surprised to see that she was already up at a branch of a tree, not so patiently waiting for him to follow. What are you waiting for? She looked very angry, but Sasuke ignored that and scowled. He jumped up to a tree and looked at her straight in the eyes. He was glaring at her. On Sakura's side she just ignored his glare and went ahead. They have so little time left. Sasuke didn't seem shocked this time with her actions, unlike earlier. She's weird and different, he thought, and continued to head west. Meanwhile, Naruto leapt tree to tree. Having a huge grin on his face, he finally arrived at the memorial of the village. Sakura-chan, Sasuke-tem, where are you guys? He yelled as he saw that nobody was around. Guess, said Sakura-chan, still saving Sasuke's sorry ass. He thought aloud. He grinned cheekily as he saw the lunchbox that Kakashi was holding earlier this morning. He took the lunchbox and leaned on the carved stone on the memorial. Might as well eat lunch while waiting for them. Kakashi-sensei should be far away by now. Naruto opened the lunchbox, as he was about to lift the food to his mouth. Yo, does the food taste good? Kakashi appeared suddenly from behind, shocking Naruto out of his wits, causing him to drop the food. Sorry, but I really don't know what Kakashi said to Naruto at that time. I just improvised. He jumped a few feet from where he was sitting and looked back at the Junin. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto stuttered. But how? He didn't get to finish his sentence as Kakashi swiftly got behind him with a blink of an eye. That explosion earlier, did you made that? A monotonous voice came out of the blue. Sakura turned to Sasuke. Yeah. I planned a bomb to explode after 15 minutes it was set. I had to keep Kakashi away from us for a while. She explained. They were jumping tree to the memorial. Away from us? Sasuke asked doubtful. Sakura saw the growing doubt in him. We have to think of a plan to defeat him. She looked back to the path they were taking. We're no match against him. Sasuke frowned at her last statement. He's an elite Junin while we're just rookie genins. We need to work together. We need a plan. She said in a firm voice. Silence wondered between them. How did you know that it was going to work? Using chakra to break the ground. Sasuke said in a dull yet firm voice. That made Sakura wonder if this boy really was interested to know. And there was one thing that surprised her more, he seems talkative. I didn't know that he can use his mouth that much. She thought. Well, Sasuke asked after she hasn't given him the answer. It sounded like he was scolding her. I remembered something Iruka-sensei taught us in the academy. He said that chakra can break down anything as long as it's in the right concentration. The problem was that I didn't have enough chakra to break the ground myself. She explained. She would have to admit that he somewhat scares her and would have to admit that she hated it. Inner Sakura. Damn Uchiha. Burn in hell. Her inner self screamed and outer Sakura agreed with her. After that silence wondered between them again, which made Sakura uncomfortable, but she preferred it that way. Every time the Uchiha would open his mouth, each word he would say felt like venom that slowly killed her. If she wasn't in a range of anger and worry over the situation earlier, she would have been scared out of her panties by his glare. Not that she was that scared of him. He was just so dull, lifeless, arrogant, impassive, cold, uncaring, and the list continues. Iruka-sensei. Hokage-sama, what were you thinking? She screamed in her head, wondering what on earth had got through their heads that made them put Sasuke in the same team as hers. She sighed, like all her complaining can make him go away. Who is she? Why does she know so much? Sasuke didn't pay much attention to any of his classmates at the academy, he was never interested. But this girl in front of him, she acted like she knew exactly what to do, like she was an expert or something. They took a few more leaps until they finally reached the memorial. Sakura first looked around for any signs of Naruto, but there were none. Where is he? Should be here by now. She said aloud. Could it be that? Sakura-chan. A loud voice screamed out of nowhere. Sakura turned her head left and saw Naruto tied to a log. Naruto-kun. Sakura screamed in worry, and ran to him, completely forgetting that she was with Sasuke. Sakura. Wait. Sasuke warned, but Sakura didn't listen. And even before Sakura could reach Naruto, Kakashi suddenly appeared in front of her. Sasuke read to move but felt a sharp object pointing at his neck. Cage Bunshin, he thought as he saw another Kakashi at his back. Nice try, but not good enough. One of the Kakashi said. And Sakura knew it was too late and she had made a big mistake. Now the three genins were all tied in each of their own logs. One was frowning. The other was sulking while another was screaming his head off. Ashi was stating off a few things, but Sakura wasn't exactly listening much, too deep in thought over what had happened earlier. It was in the last part where Kakashi had cut Sasuke's and her rope and told them not to feed Naruto did she slip back to reality. Kakashi had given them their lunch boxes and left the three. Sakura-chan. Naruto, stomach grumbling, still tied up to the pole, called to her, sounding pathetically desperate to Sasuke's ears. Sakura looked at Sasuke with a pleading look. Sasuke, she said in a firm but pleading voice. The look in those sea-foam green eyes almost made him jump. He had never seen eyes like those before, so filled with emotions so intense that he felt like he was going to explode in her stare. He just had to look away. Sasuke, he's not around. Huh, Kakashi is not around, he said while still not looking at her. Sakura smiled. She opened her lunch box and slowly lifted food to Naruto's mouth, which the boy gladly opened to accept. Sasuke looked at their surroundings to check any other chakras, but in truth he was slightly looking at Sakura and Naruto. And again he was taken away by the sweet smile she was giving to him. Why is she so nice to him? Thunder clouds appeared and lightning struck. Kakashi appeared out of nowhere pointing an accusing finger at the three. You three, he said in loud angry voice. Pass, but finished in a sweet tone. Huh, Naruto and Sakura said in union, both confused. Why? Was Sasuke's own question. Up until now the three of you have been doing whatever I said like mindless little puppets. A true shinobi seeks for the meaning within a hidden meaning. In a ninja's world, those who violate the rules, fail to follow orders, are lower than garbage. However, those who cannot support and care foe are their comrades, or even lower than that. Kakashi said while not looking at them. Now I understand. That's why you only had 2 bells, right? To test us, to see if we would abandon each for the sake of passing. To see if we would fight each other just to get those bells and pass this stupid test. Sakura said, sounding very angry. Kakashi nodded and Sakura just sighed. Kakashi looked at her amused. I thought so. She really is a Haruno. Well, I'll be going now. See you guys tomorrow at 8 at the bridge. Don't be late, okay? He said with an amused glint in his lazy eyes. And before 2 of his students could clobber him to death, he disappeared with a puff of smoke. Sasuke was looking at his now official teammates. He saw how Naruto jumped for joy and boastfully declared him now being a true ninja. Dobi, he muttered under his breath. After that he looked at his only female teammate. She was smiling that ever so sweet smile at Naruto. She was being happy for him. Why is she so nice to him? He felt pathetic for asking the same useless question for the second time. Sasuke had noticed 3 things about the girl. 1. She's smart, she knew a lot about chakra and knew what to do in tight situations. 2. She seems to be brave, she didn't even flinch at his famous Uchiha glare. And 3. She was not interested in him. That was his most shocking revelation. Wait, the way she smiles at Naruto. The way she talks to Naruto. The way her eyes twinkles in Naruto's presence. The reason why she defended Naruto from being called a dobi. Could it be that Sakura is, right now, with Naruto? There's a certain somebody that I like and I love him with all my heart. 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 Sakura. With Naruto. No way. Sasuke almost screamed aloud. With the dobi, a new revelation unfolds. Shocking. Out of this world revelation. Shocking enough to give the third a heart attack and sent him straight away. Oh heaven, that he'd be saying hello to Saint Peter and his smelly old roster that's probably as old as he is. He can imagine him right now having the time of his life up there. Sasuke scolded himself for thinking of such foolishness. It isn't even proven yet, and if it is true it doesn't matter. So what if she likes Naruto, like he cares? Of course he doesn't. He is Uchiha Sasuke. He doesn't care about anything at all except for power and to become stronger. To avenge his clan. He is a cold-hearted ninja out for revenge. Period. He turned to leave, not caring about his other teammates. Not knowing that his 2 teammates were again too busy with each to notice him leaving. He turned to leave, not caring about his other teammates. Not knowing that his 2 teammates were again too busy with each to notice him leaving. Side story. Everybody has a right. Sakura looked up at the sky at a window in her apartment. It was dark. Rain clouds were forming up in the sky, making the day almost as dark as night. A single raindrop fell onto the glass. Soon numerous raindrops fell down until they were countless to the human eye. Sakura stood in front of her window looking up the same dark raining sky. Flash. Mama. Papa. The girl sobbed. The sky was dark and it was raining very hard. The people surrounding her barely noticed the tears she cried because of the rain. They were using umbrellas To not get wet, yet the girl in front of them couldn't care less. Right now all she wanted to do was die. As the final letters of the names on the stone have been craved, neither the rain nor her crying had stopped. Sakura. She looked up and saw the cloak of an old man. He looked at her with pity and guilt in his eyes. I'm sorry. End flash. Her right hand touched the glass, it felt cold and so did her heart. But it was only during rainy days did she felt like this, only during rainy days. 2 days later. Ha! Naruto-kun. Dobi. Hee. Their sensei just giggled as he read his perverted book while his students were being in a rampage. Lo and behold, Team 7, well just Naruto actually, is being chased by a mob of dogs while their sensei is on the tree reading his book, not caring seemingly of them. And the race is on. Naruto is in the lead, followed by a mob of slobbering dogs, followed by worried-looking Sakura, at her back, and not far behind is a very irritated Sasuke. It seems like nobody can beat Naruto in the run, his feet are working miracles for him. All of them took a turn in a corner. Oh, what's this? One of the dogs is gaining up on him. Yes people, you heard it right, one of the dogs is, wait. What's this again? Another dog is gaining. Now 2 dogs are gaining up on our favorite shinobi. Oh my Kami, all of the dogs are working their own miracles, all of them are gaining up on him. Oh not good. Looks like Sakura is very disappointed and Sasuke looks like he's gonna blow. Ha! Naruto has been caught. The race has ended and the winner is. Drum roll. The dogs. Chibi dogs cheering in the background. LOL. Applaud. A half an hour before noon. Stupid sensei. Making us watch over drooling dumb dogs. I almost got eaten by those monsters. Naruto complained out loud. Sakura and Sasuke were walking in the quiet streets of Konoha after giving back one by one the dogs they'd watched earlier this morning. Now they were walking back to the forest to meet Kakashi for last-minute briefing. Shut up, Dobi. Sasuke snapped. What did you say, bastard? Naruto retorted, but Sasuke just snorted at him. Sakura just sighed. It had been 1 whole month since they had formed as a team and she was already used to these small fights between Naruto and the Uchiha boy. The constant saying of Dobi to Naruto by Sasuke didn't bother her anymore. Naruto would snap back at him anyway. What else is there for her to do but listen? She had been a quiet voice in the crowd these past 2 days and she was thankful that nobody had asked her what was wrong. It's today, she thought absent-mindedly. She abruptly stopped and looked up at the seemingly clear sky. Is it going to rain? She shook her head. It wouldn't matter. Wait, it would. Beck. Oz the rain. It always felt cold. She'll feel cold once again. She continued her walk, thankful that none of her teammates noticed her sudden halt. Okay, I'm glad that you guys came back. I was thinking that you might have gone with the dogs. Kakashi said in an amused voice. All of them were now in the forest. Quit it, sensei, and tell us what is it we need to know. Naruto huffed impatiently. Sasuke glared while Sakura, well, she looked impassive. Odd, Kakashi thought. It's not like Sakura to be impassive. Even in just 1 month time Kakashi was able to know each of his students' personalities. Naruto was an impatient, loud but amusing young boy and he can tell that he was a determined one as well. Sasuke was the impassive, arrogant and quiet one. He could tell that he was also determined but in a different way. Now Sakura, she was usually a lively girl. Always smiling, always cheery. But something was wrong, Kakashi could tell. Well, all I want to say is that we don't have a mission for the remaining 2 days of this week. That's all and goodbye. And with a puff of smoke he disappeared. 2 veins popped out of Naruto's temple. He's gonna blow. Head for cover. I'm going home. A voice said suddenly. 2 heads turned to Sakura but she just smiled sweetly at them. Yane, Naruto-kun, Sasuke. She slightly bowed and left without saying another word. Sakura-chan is been acting weird these past few days. Naruto commented while looking at Sakura's fading back. Fading, gone, out of sight. HN, is that all you can say, bastard? HN, seriously, do you even care? HN, do you understand anything that I'm saying? HN, I give up. Naruto stumped back to his own apartment. Steam was coming out of his ears in anger. Either way Sasuke didn't move from his spot. He was staring at the path where Sakura had left. With his hands in his pockets he left towards his apartment. Ino was in their family's flower shop. Any minute now, she said to no one. Footsteps could be heard getting nearer. Ino saw a shadow by the door. What took you so long? I was begging to think you forgot. Sakura, Ino said with a forced grin on her face. She kneeled down from the counter and took out a bouquet of fresh dandelions. Getting out of the counter, she handed out the bouquet. You don't need to pay. I know who you're going to give to. Thanks, Ino, Sakura said in an emotionless voice, hugging the bouquet in her arms. Don't you dare think that our rivalry is over. The two of us are still enemies, got it? Ino grinned at her, hopping to tea. Her statement will lighten up the atmosphere. Sakura forced a smile on her face. Don't worry, I won't, and thanks again for the flowers. She turned to leave the flower shop. Okay then, and Sakura, say hello to them for me. Sakura stopped at Ino's statement, which scared the blonde girl. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to say that. The pink-haired girl nodded. I will. And she left. Ino was left dumbfounded. I guess it's going to rain today. Hey Iruka, can I ask you something? Kakashi leaned on the window of the Ninja Academy. Iruka looked at him suspiciously. He had a bad feeling about this. Don't worry, I won't force you to read Ika Ika Paradise like last time. Kakashi waved of. He was smiling under his mask. A vein popped on Iruka's temple. Kakashi, ask what is it you need to ask. I still have a class starting in 20 minutes. Iruka almost screamed. Okay, calm down. He lifted himself up the window and went nearer to Iruka, who was at his desk in the classroom. It's about one of my students, Sakura. The atmosphere became seriously quiet. Iruka stopped at his task of filing the test papers of his students. His eyebrows arched upward. Was she acting weird lately? Iruka asked while not looking at the silver-haired man. Yeah, how did you know? Though Kakashi remained emotionless outside, he was getting eager inside. He wanted to know the reason of Sakura's depressed state, and he knew that Iruka knew the reason. It's been 6 years now. Kakashi lifted an eyebrow. He hasn't seen Iruka this sad in a long time. 6 years? Kakashi asked. 6 years since her parents died. Silence filled the air for a while. Today was the day her parents died. Kakashi remained emotionless, but now he understood. Now I understand. Well, I'll be leaving now. Thanks for the info. As he was just about to pass through the door when Iruka said something. It's going to rain. Better bring an umbrella. Huh. Iruka's actions were starting to freak him out. He looked outside the window. It was getting cloudy, and the connection is, Sakura is, Iruka hesitated. Usually cold when it rains. It rained when her parents were buried. Kakashi just nodded and left the academy. He realized that his students had some things in common. One of those things is that they are all alone in life. He sighed. What is he, an orphanage? Sasuke walked back to his apartment after eating lunch at a small sushi bar. No way will he go to a ramen shop. He wasn't into the thought of eating with a noisy, loud blonde boy. His walk was peaceful. Nothing was bothering him. He looked around his surroundings. It wasn't his normal route to his apartment, but since it was the nearest from the bar, he decided to take it. After all, what could be the harm? He went to a sudden halt. The path he was taking was leading him directly to Ino's flower shop. How did he know? Easy. It was right ahead of him. He turned around, not caring if he was going to take the long path home. As long as he doesn't get to hear the loud screech of Ino's voice. Just the thought of it was making him cringe. Sasuke. Oh no. Sasuke, what are you doing here? Wait, where the loud screech of Sasuke Kuuunn. That voice. That's not Ino's voice. It was too soft to be her voice. Sasuke. He turned. Sakura. Right in front of him was his only female teammate, hugging a bouquet of dandelions. They were so close. He wondered why he couldn't feel their proximity earlier. They were probably about lesser than a half a meter apart. In this proximity he was able to see her up close. She has nice lips, he thought. It must be nice to beep, though. Hold it right there, Uchiha. He was shocked, but he didn't show it. What was he thinking? Was he just lusting over his female teammate? Hell no. This shouldn't be happening to him. Calm down, Uchiha. This is nothing. What is it, Sakura? He asked very coldly at her. his hands in his pockets, trying to keep his cool. What's his problem? Sakura did not like the way the Uchiha boy talked, but it wasn't her primary concern right now. She looked up at the sky. Clouds were starting to gather. So, it is going to rain. What? You're not going to say anything? Sasuke said in an annoyed voice. She wasn't paying attention to him. It seems that the girl finds the sky more interesting than him. Sakura stopped staring at the sky. I'm leaving. That was all that she said and went past Sasuke. She went on her way to whatever place she needed to go to. For the second time that day, Sasuke was staring at the leaving presence of his female teammate. She really is weird, he muttered under his breath, but it wasn't meant to insult or praise, it was just a blank statement. Sasuke kuunnnn. Even before he could blink, Ino's iron grip was already on to him. Ino. He seethed, but Ino ignored it. Oh Sasuke-kun, you came to visit me. That's so sweet of you. Ino let go. I love my Sasuke-kun. And I know you love me too. Sasuke spent a good amount of time just to get Ino off of him. I wonder what Sakura-chan is doing right now. Naruto was staring up at the darkening clouds at the sky in an empty street. He had lunch at Ichiraku, but he didn't enjoy it. He was thinking about his pink-haired teammate. He wasn't used to the way she acted earlier. He knew something was wrong. Maybe I should go and visit her. He made a thinking face and went to deep thought. Was she this important to him already? Of course she is. She is his teammate after all. It's just normal to worry for your teammate. She was like a sister he never had. Or possibly even more. Naruto shook his head vigorously. What was I thinking? What were you thinking? Kakashi was suddenly face to face with Naruto. 3, 2, 1. Ha! Naruto had fallen on his butt in shock. Kakashi-sensei, what the hell did you do that for? OPS's. Did I gave you a heart attack? His sensei said amusingly. Naruto stood up and almost went to murderize his sensei. But fortunately Kakashi held him down with just one finger. Quit it. What is it that you want? You were thinking about Sakura, weren't you? Kakashi watched in amusement as Naruto's face turned red. Nah, just joking. Naruto had fallen backwards, anime style. Kakashi laughed at his student's antics. Hey Naruto, can you do me a favor? What, you're going to make me watch over some dogs again? Naruto asked angrily. Of course not. I want you go to the memorial today. A Junin will meet you there. He has an important document for me. This will be an important mission. Wow, really? Hey, why just me? Naruto asked in doubt. It wasn't like Kakashi to trust him in a mission like this. Either way, he was very excited. If you don't want the mission, it's okay. I guess I could get Sasuke to do. I'll take the mission. No way am I going to let Sasuke bastard get all the credit. Naruto interrupted. Kakashi didn't expect that Naruto would agree that fast, but he was pleased. Okay then, I'll meet you here after you get the document. Naruto nodded and scuttled away with a wide grin on his face. Kakashi smiled under his mask. Help her get through this, Naruto. A gush of strong wind came and the masked Junin was gone from where he was previously. Important mission. Important mission. Important mission, Naruto chanted out loud. He jogged his way to the memorial, still having a grin on his face. I'll show that Sasuke bastard what I can do, he. Meanwhile, she put the flowers down, smiled a bit, but just a bit. A barely noticeable smile, a sad smile. The wind was cold, the sky was dark. The rain poured down on her, very hard. But she didn't mind, she didn't care. The rain helped hide the tears, the coldness helped numb the pain. She stood there motionless, and possibly emotionless. But the pain was there. She felt it in her heart. It's been 6 years, I've been all alone, Sakura said barely above a whisper. The rain soaked her hair and her dress, making it stick on her body. The rain poured harder. Ah, why did it have to rain now? Naruto sheltered himself under a tree. I can't stay here forever. Kakashi-sensei is waiting for me. He went on to the memorial, running his way towards there. Passing through the trees of the forest, Naruto ignored the strong fall of the rain. Almost there, he declared inwardly. Just a little bit. Ha! He stumbled on a root. Splash! Hit his face first onto the ground just in time to reach the memorial. Sakura turned around due to the noise. Naruto-kun. Sakura stared in shock. Sakura-chan, what are you doing here? All wet, Naruto asked after lifting himself up from the ground. The rain hasn't stopped yet. Sakura didn't answer. Her head was lowered. Sakura-chan. Naruto's voice was seeping with worry for his teammate. They were in a memorial, so that would mean she had visited somebody she knew that's already dead. But who? Naruto wondered. Saku. I know that I shouldn't complain about my situation. Her voice was shockingly emotionless. You, Sasuke and maybe even Kakashi-sensei. I know that the three of you have been through worst. So I have no right to see. Omplane. Her head lifted to meet Naruto's eyes and smiled bitterly. Her parents. It's her parents. She's an orphan just like him and Sasuke. But, it's just that, her voice began to crack as her figure trembled, and it wasn't because of the cold. I've been all alone, for so long. Sakura-chan. Naruto knew she was crying. Even though the pouring rain, he could see the tears. But I have no. That's not true. Sakura looked at him in surprise. Naruto-kun. It's not true that you don't have a right. Naruto screamed. Sakura-chan, the things that you've been through are painful in your part. The things that I've been through are painful in my part. The things that Sasuke had been through are painful in his part. All of us have painful experiences, and all of us have the right to show to others what it feels to go through all of that. It was Naruto's turn to tremble while Sakura stares at him wide-eyed. Naruto-kun, nothing good is going to see. Out if you keep on hiding what you really feel. The rain started to slow down. So, Sakura-chan, everybody has a right. The rain had stopped. The sky started to clear up. Including you, Sakura-chan. In the ray of the sun, Sakura saw Naruto smiling at her warmly. But even the rain had stopped. Sakura's tears refused to do the same. The tears weren't for her parents, weren't for her pain. She had never thought she would find someone that would truly understand her this much. She bowed her head, not able to take the happiness growing within her. Naruto started to fidget. Sakura-kanten, to cry, and it was making him nervous. Did he say something wrong? Sakura-chan, Naruto said unsurely. Sakura lifted her head, and on her face was a true and honest smile. Her eyes were thankful. Arigato Naruto-kun. Thank you for understanding me. Naruto couldn't help but blush. It was nothing, anything for you, Sakura-chan. He looked away. What am I saying? Oh, Sakura blushed herself. We better go before we catch a cold. Naruto explained. Hi. Sakura happily nodded. They walked side by side out of the memorial, then out of the forest. I know that old always feel the pain. I know that I would always feel pain whenever I'll remember my parents' death, but at least, I know that I'm not alone anymore. Because I have you with me, Naruto-kun. Wounds and heartbeats. AC rank mission. 1 month later, Sasuke watched from a bit of a distance the image of Naruto and Sakura. Naruto wrestling the cat that they were searching for their mission, and Sakura watching him in mild amusement. Well, this mission is cleared. Let's go. Kakashi came down from a tree after reading his book. He walked to the village of Konoha, putting his hands in his pocket. The rest of Team 7 followed. Now the next mission for Team 7 is to... The Hokage continued reading the list until Naruto suddenly interrupted. Boring. Give us an exciting one. Something more adventurous. Something worth my time, he complained in a shout in front of the Hokage and the other Junins. The rest of Team 7 at his side. You're only rookie genins. All of you must start by doing small work and then work your way up. Iruka almost screamed. Naruto didn't look satisfied with his ex-sensei's explanation. Listen, you three. I'm sure you understand the way of how our village functions. The Hokage said, trying to make them understand. Every day we get missions, from doing errands to assassinations. Dividing each shinobi by their levels is to not get them killed in their mission, and that person who gave us the work would be thankful and will pay us. Right now you three are the lowest in the list, so the only jobs you can handle are D rank ones. But to the Hokage's great annoyance, Team 7 wasn't listening to him. Moreover, they were listening to Naruto's talked about what flavor of ramen he had a week ago. I had miso last week, and... Are you listening to me or not? He surprisingly screamed at them. The team's attention was again to him. The third cleared his throat. Alright then, if you think that the three of you are good enough, then I'll give you a C-rank mission. The third smiled at them. Iruka though did not approve the Hokage's decision. Hokage-sama, you can't let this happen. They're only rookies. Calm down, Iruka, the Hokage said calmly. Let us test the strength and determination of these three. Now, you will have a simple escort mission. Naruto grinned. Alright, so who will we be escorting? A fair princess, a great landlord. Who? Iruka. Please let him in. The Hokage ordered. As Iruka opened the door, an old man came in with a bottle of sake in his hand. Sakura gave a disgusted stare at the old man. What are you looking at, Pinky? He said after a gulp of sake. You assigned these little midgets to escort me. Naruto made an angry face. Who the hell are you? And how dare you call us midgets? He pointed at Tazuna. I am Tazuna of the Wave Country, and I expect you to escort me safely to my home with your life. After that he had another gulp of his sake. We have to escort this old goat. That clearly hit a nerve in Tazuna. I'm not a goat, but you're old. What do you care? And the continuing debate went on and on. Early that morning. At the front gate of Konoha, Team 7 and Tazuna were ready to leave to the Wave Country. Tazuna and Naruto were still quarreling and were the ones ahead of them. Sakura let out a sigh. She did mind Naruto and Tazuna fighting over such small things, but what could she do? She tried talking to Naruto earlier about saying that Tazuna is their charge. He agreed, but then the two started quarreling again. She heaved off another sigh. She hoped that his mission would turn out to be safe, because at the pit of her stomach she was feeling that feeling again. That something was about to happen. As she walked she saw a puddle of water on the ground. Huh, strange. It's been a month since it last rained. Sakura thought oddly, but then became suddenly sad. On my parents' death day. And had completely forgotten about the puddle. Splash. Sakura looked over behind her to find two ninjas coming out of the puddle with clawed hands heading right at her. Sakura-chan. Naruto screamed. Sasuke, Kakashi and Tazuna watch frozen on their spot. Slash. Sasuke's eyes widened as he saw Sakura cut into pieces before his eyes. No, he breathed out. Kakashi on the other hand only smirked under his mask. It was then that Sakura turned into a log and fallen on the ground. What the? Naruto said, confused at the situation, but then froze in fear as one of the ninjas came running at him and another one at Sasuke. Sasuke fought the ninja with great skill and managed to fight off the ninja heading at Naruto. But then one of the ninjas shot out a chain at Sasuke's leg, causing him to trip, falling to where Naruto was. The two enemy ninjas took advantage of the situation. They headed straight at Tazuna, ready to kill. What the? Kakashi-sensei. Don't just stand there, do something. Naruto screamed out, frustrated at the sight of his sensei just stand near their charge yet doing nothing. Then again Kakashi just smirked under his mask. The two ninjas shot out their claws at Tazuna. Sakura, Kakashi said. Then after two shurikens swiftly passed the front of the ninjas out of nowhere. Suddenly they were pulled to a tree. The shurikens had strings attached on them. Instantly they were tied onto the tree and could barely move. Chakra strings. One of them said bitterly. That's right. Chakra strings are almost impossible to break. Very few ninjas are able to do such a task. Kakashi said smugly. Isn't that right, Sakura? Sakura came down, and from the tree the two ninjas were tied to. She walked to where Naruto was, completely ignoring her sensei, the still frightened Tazuna and the glaring Sasuke. Naruto-kun, are okay? She asked softly as she helped him stand up. Her voice was the same as her face, full of worry. Naruto just nodded. While Kakashi and Tazuna scrutinized the two ninjas, Sakura was busy checking if there were any damages to her teammates. Naruto felt sick. He didn't receive any damages on his body yet he felt very sick. He couldn't do anything to help. Are you alright, scaredy cat Naruto? Sasuke mocked. A smirk was plastered on his face. Naruto felt even more sick. Sasuke stopped the ninja from attacking him. Sakura stopped the ninja from further attacks on them, but what did he do? Nothing. He cowered off. What a sick thing to do. Sakura saw Naruto lift a kunai from his handler and pierce it on his left hand. He declared a promise that Sakura realized at that very moment that her love for him will stay. She smiled to herself. That's a promise. Naruto finished his speech, which owed him a stare from Tazuna, an impassive stare from Kakashi, and a snort from Sasuke, but he didn't care. He made a promise and he was going to fulfill it. He took out the kunai from his left hand and flinched a bit. It was oozing with blood. He jumped when he felt someone touch his hand. It was Sakura with a warm smile on her lips. Naruto-kun, I know you will be able to fulfill that promise. I have faith in you. And she continued on wrapping his left hand with bandages. Naruto couldn't help but blush. She has faith in me. Besides, from Iruka, nobody has ever said those words to him before, especially from a girl. He blushed even more and his heartbeat went into turmoil. Sakura didn't show it, but her heart skipped a beat, and it wasn't due to the fact she was holding Naruto's hand. She saw it, saw how the wound on his hand was starting to heal much too rapidly than the way an ordinary wound should, but she laid it off. Maybe he's just a fast healer, she reasoned. There, it's finished. Naruto's hand was now neatly wrapped in a bandage. After Naruto, she checked for injuries on her raven-haired teammate seating 2 meters away from them. Sasuke, does anything hurt? She asked politely. She received a glare and a grunt from him. Naruto was called by Kakashi and Tazuna, so nobody saw what was happening between the two. What the hell? We're already being nice here. Inner Sakura screamed. It's been a month since she heard her talk inside her head. And being the person she is, she still laid it off what he said, but with a scowl on her face. I'll take that as a no. But she saw a minor cut on the lower part of his right leg where the chain had pulled him. She knelt front of him and proceeded to bandage his leg with or without his permission. Hey, Sasuke complained. He tried to move his foot away from her, which only aggravated the pink-haired kunoichi. Stop moving, Sakura argued. You're getting the bandages tangled up. Sasuke didn't stop moving his right leg. He didn't like her touch. Her hands were smooth and flawless, and by a mere touch he felt like his senses were going haywire, and he didn't like it. I said stop moving. Sakura finally lost her temper. She grabbed onto his leg and continued to bandage it. Sasuke wouldn't admit it, but she got him a bit scared for that. Eventually he stopped moving. He tried not to flinch with her touch. It's been 4 years since somebody had touched him like this. Ever since his parents died, he didn't let anybody near him. It was an odd feeling to be touched by somebody again. There, it's done. Now, did that hurt? She asked in an angry voice. She didn't wait for him to reply and turned around to where Kakashi and the others are. He watched her leave. Finally he was able to breathe again. He let out a sigh. What the hell was wrong with him? Why is he acting this way? In all truth, this shouldn't be disturbing him, but then again, every time she gets near him he had to double the barrier he always set up to other people. It wasn't like him. What the hell does this girl have? He got up and also went to where the others were. He made his barrier was set up before getting anywhere near them. Good work, Sakura, Kakashi greeted as the pink-haired girl got near to them. Huh? Sakura asked, confused. You were able to capture SA rogue ninjas and didn't panic during the situation. You've proven your bravery and skill today, Kakashi complimented. Oh, she said awkwardly. She wasn't used to being praised. Nay, Sakura-chan, you're more stronger than I thought. Naruto praised, making Sakura blush even more. But her heart was in pain. She wasn't that strong as they thought she was. It was just luck, she said to herself. I'm not really strong. The pink-haired kunoichi has very low self-esteem. I have to be stronger to prove my worth in being a Haruno. Sasuke, though back to his impassive state, had a very serious thought in mind. This girl, who is she? She seems to be strong, but I haven't heard anything of her back in the academy. He thought. Maybe it was because he chose to ignore all the girls back then. But now he was curious. He could feel it that there's something different about her. And he could have sworn he had heard of the family name Haruno even before his academy days. We've found out that these ninjas were sent by Gato. Tazuna has already explained to me everything, Kakashi said with an unamused glint in his eyes. Tazuna just looked guilty. For now, all I can say is that this isn't a C rank mission anymore, it's now a B rank mission, or possibly even higher. So keep your senses up. We'll never know what's going to happen next. Team 7 nodded. Alright, I won't be scared anymore, Naruto declared to himself. A B rank mission, Sasuke thought. This will be interesting. Okay Sakura, this is your time to show to everybody you're worthy to have the family name Haruno. Sakura saw it to herself with determination in her eyes. Kakashi smiled under his mask. A true Haruno never gives up and is always determined in everything they do. He thought after seeing the sparkle in Sakura's eyes. And the others have no idea who you really are. Alright then, let's proceed to the wave country. Kakashi declared to the group, and so everybody followed. Somebody among the trees kept a careful eye on the small group below. Interesting, he said as he watched the group and followed them to their destination. Humph, they won't even make it there alive. A demon and an Anbu. A present. CE was somewhere on the trees, but it was faint. And judging by the way on her sensei's eye looked around Thenim, she knew that he felt it too. Another of Gato's underlings. Sakura thought unamused. He presence was faint, meaning that whoever that person may be has an ability to conceal his chakra quite well. Possibly a powerful shinobi. She swallowed hard as she tried to calm her pounding heart. This mission was getting very dangerous. Nay Sakura-chan, are you okay? Naruto asked from her right, staring at her with his blue eyes. Oh, Gomen Naruto-kun. I was just thinking about things earlier. She excused. Don't worry Sakura-chan, I'll make sure that nothing bad happens to you. The blonde proclaimed. Sasuke frowned as he heard what the blonde boy said. Make sure nothing bad happens to her. As if. He has his doubts if the Dobi could do that after how he acted earlier. To the Uchiha he was just one idiotic coward. Of course it was just for him, because for a pink-haired Kunoichi it was different. Very different. Sakura blushed. Make sure nothing bad happens to her. As in protecting her. As in her knight in shining armor. Her Prince Charming to the rescue. She blushed even more. She looked down, trying very hard not to catch anybody's attention. But she failed. Sakura-chan, are you alright? Why are you red? Do have a fever? Without warning, Naruto placed his right hand on her forehead to check her temperature. Sakura didn't expect the sudden contact. Her eyes widened and became even more red. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, she was going to black out. You are a bit warm. Naruto concluded while still touching her wide forehead. Nah Naruto-kun, I'm fine, she stuttered. Her breath was shortening. Her heart felt like it was about to explode. If Naruto would continue this, she knew she was going to faint, and that wouldn't be good, especially at a situation like this. It was similar to what happened a month ago. Sasuke quirked an eyebrow. Sakura was red as a tomato as the blonde idiot was touching her forehead. He frowned. The scene was familiar. Then a memory of a month ago. Flash. It was raining hard. Very hard. Uchiha Sasuke had shielded himself under a huge sakura tree from the rain. Since it wasn't spring yet, the tree was in a shade of deep green. It was in the middle of a tall fence, so its other half was in the other side. Slightly wet and a bit annoyed, he waited for the rain to stop. He couldn't help but grimace as he remembered how he had to use almost all of his time just to get Ino off of him. Stupid fangirl. First Ino, then this rain. Today really wasn't his lucky day. But surely things would turn out okay. And so he was right. The rain stopped much to his relief. And was about to leave when he heard an all too familiar voice from the other side of the fence. Oi! Daijobu desu ka? You're shivering. It was Naruto, that dobi, talking to someone. But who? Achoo! A sneeze. Oi! Sakura-chan, are you catching a cold? His eyes slightly widened. He was talking to Sakura. He was. Surprise. No way. An Uchiha is never surprise. Oh no. I'm fine Naruto-kun. Don't worry. A female voice. Soothing and sweet. It was her. But you look pale. The dobi's voice was worried. So she was sick. Gah. Now you're red. Sakura-chan, are you sure you're okay? Red. From pale to flushed. Could it be that she was blushing? Because of the dobi? Because of the way he showed worry for her? Hi. I'm fine. Really? It was just a chill tea, that's all. Sakura's voice stuttered. But thank you for caring Naruto-kun. Her voice was now warm. Hey. You're welcome. Naruto's voice was sheepish. The dobi was enjoying it. He likes being praised. He was linking it and he was being praised by Sakura. By Sakura. Unconsciously Sasuke clenched his fist. Today was definitely not his lucky day. End flash. That was a month ago. Sakura never acts like that to anybody except Naruto. Here's a certain somebody that I like and I love him with all my heart. The way she acts in Naruto's presence. There's a certain somebody that I like and I love him with all my heart. Damn that statement. Why is it taunting him so much? Kakashi smiled. Oh, how he loved the way his students act between each other. Sakura would blush bright as a tomato. Naruto would be completely clueless and how Sasuke would get annoyed by all of that. But they don't have much time to act carefree. How long is he supposed to follow us until he makes his move? Kakashi asked mentally, and as if reading his thoughts it did move. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura cried as she felt something coming nearer to them. Everything seemed to stop as Naruto and Sasuke didn't move. Suddenly a huge sword swept past them, almost hitting them in the process. It hit a tree and stuck there. Momochi Zabuza from the land of the mist. Kakashi said in a not caring tone, but there was a hint of seriousness in it that Sakura just couldn't miss. Ha ha ha. An evil laugh echoed around them. On the huge sword stood a man covered in bandages. Hitaki Kakashi from the village of Konohakagure. He said in a loud evil tone. If you wouldn't mind, just give me the old man. His eyes glittered with madness. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, look after Mr. Tazuna. Kakashi ordered tightly. She stood not moving. It was hard to breathe. The only movement was the constant shivering of her petite form. It was very obvious Sakura was scared. Who is he? Why is his chakra pattern like this? Her eyes widened. He was staring at her. Kakashi, not tearing away his gaze from the enemy, could feel his students' fears. He couldn't blame them. It's their first life and death mission and it shouldn't have been this way. His glare intensified. I have to get them out of here alive. Hee. Looks like your students are frightened off their wits. Such scaredy cats. The man named Zabuza said in mockery. He didn't left his eyes on Sakura. Naruto snapped from the statement. Such scaredy cats. Are you alright, scaredy cat Naruto? Sakura saw Naruto shiver. Was he scared as well? Can he also feel the strong surge of chakra from him? She let out a strangled breath. This wasn't good. They were face to face with what looked like a demon from hell. Kakashi went on with an attack, holding a kunai at hand. He charged. Sakura watched as the two engage in fierce battle. Kakashi was good, but she had her doubts if he would be able to defeat the man named Zabuza. She nearly fainted. Kakashi was captured in a ball of water. They were doomed. Kakashi knew he had made a mistake. Now being imprisoned in ball of water, he had to make a decision. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, take Tazuna away from here. Get away from here, he screamed. Is he crazy? Doesn't he know that we now have a minimum chance of surviving this? Sasuke screamed mentally, and took out a kunai from his pouch. The only way we can get through this is by fighting back. To hell no. Sasuke snapped his head to where the shout came from. Naruto. To his surprise, the once shivering blonde was back to his loudmouth self. He wasn't the only one, so was Sakura. Naruto-kun, Sasuke. They were prepared for battle. They were brave, yet she was shivering like a little kitten that got wet from the rain. Okay Sakura, this is your time to show to everybody why. We're worthy to have the family name Haruno. You were able to capture these rogue ninjas and didn't panic during the situation. You've proven your bravery and skill today. Kakashi-sensei, we're not gonna leave you. We're fight back to that mummy freak. Naruto screamed again, his eyes blazing. He promised to be never scared again. Dobi. For once it didn't sound like an insult. Naruto-kun. Sakura said, some of her fear starting to leave her. Zabuza didn't look affected and once again laughed evilly. Do you actually think that you three little midgets can defeat an S-class ninja like me? Ha ha ha. Their look was back to him again. Anger, fear, an S-class ninja, a missing nin from the mist. He's strong, no. Powerful, maybe more powerful than Kakashi-sensei. Do we stand a chance? She closed her eyes tightly. Okay Sakura, this is your time to show to everybody you're worthy to have the family name Haruno. To be worthy. My family name, Haruno. She made her decision. Naruto-kun's right, Kakashi-sensei. Back to being brave Sakura She could have laughed at herself if the situation wasn't so dangerous. Anything for her family, even if we only have a small chance of getting out of this. Think, Sakura, think. This must be another way. Try as she might, nothing came to mind. They were all weak compared to the Zabuza man. They have no other choice. She looked at where Sasuke was. As if feeling her gaze on him, he looked back at her. Their eyes met. They had the same thought in mind. They had to get Kakashi out of that water prison. Sasuke. Sasuke gazed at her. Sakura took out a shadow shuriken from her bag. She threw towards Sasuke, and in his hands it unfolded in its true size. Naruto. Sasuke gave him a look and he understood. Naruto caught the huge shuriken thrown at him, then he threw it at Zabuza. Pathetic. Is that all you can do? As soon as the weapon got near him, he instantly had dodged away from it. It swiftly went past him. Ha, you have to be a fool. To think that something like that could do harm to me. Think again, Sasuke said with a smirk. A puff was heard from behind him. When he looked back, the shadow shuriken had turned into the blonde brat. Henge no jutsu. The boy threw a kunai straight at him. In the sudden happening of events, the only thing that he could do was to move away from his current position, too far away that he had to let go of his prisoner. Damn, all right. Sakura couldn't help but be shouted. She couldn't believe that their plan had worked. Sasuke heaved out a sigh of slight relief. While as Naruto grew, while his head was floating on top of the water. But soon enough his smile had vanished as Zabuza had emerged in front of him with a look of murder. In his left hand was a real shadow shuriken, pinning, and sure enough it would be heading at him. Naruto closed his eyes, half expecting to fell the blow at any moment, but it didn't came. When he opened his eyes, Kakashi's hand had blocked the blow. What the? Zabuza muttered. He was startled to see a crimson red eye with 3 commas glaring at him. Good work, Naruto. The said boy grinned at his sensei's praise. Now got to where the others are. I'll take care of this. With that the shuriken had flew from Zabuza's grip. And once again the two faced heated battle, but this time it looked like Kakashi had the upper hand. Sakura, Sasuke, Naruto and even Tazuna were amazed to see how well Kakashi could fight. It was like he could read his opponent's mind, mimicking his actions. Water dragon. The two screamed at the same time. And under the water they walked on, 2 dragons made of water emerged and battled. Then they were equal, but something happened that Sakura could not make out. And soon enough Zabuza was washed away by a huge wave of water. And had hit a tree. He did, huh? Sakura looked around. Another presence. Oh no, not again. Not one more of Gota's ninjas. Not this time. She took out a kunai. She was going to fight this. She could not let herself be afraid like before. She went into a fighting stance. There is no need for you to be alarmed, little Kunoichi. A light voice said from behind. But when she looked, there was nothing there. And when she looked back to Zabuza, he was knocked out dead by 2 senbon needles on his neck. Her eyes widened. On top of a tree was an Anbu, probably a few years older than they were. Hey, who the hell are you? Naruto called out. I am an Anbu from the mist. My mission was to get rid of him. He went down from the tree and took Zabuza by the arm. Now I must dispose of his body so it may not reveal any of our village's secrets. Before he left he took a quick glance at Sakura. Hey wait, you can't just leave after what you did. Who do you think you are? Naruto screamed in disbelief. Naruto, let him be, his sensei said, his left eye once again covered by his forehead protector. But Kakashi sensei, it is an ANBU's duty to kill missing nins. They're only doing their job, Naruto. He explained, knowing his student's frustration. Yeah, I know that, but again he was cut off by Sakura this time. He was probably 2 years older than us and he was already an Anbu, and he killed without any hesitation. She said, her voice grim. I understand. Kakashi grimaced. Using the Sharingan had worn me off. Kakashi sensei, what's wrong? Sakura said in worry. Akashi was pale and looked like in a great deal of pain. Had he gotten wounded? Kakashi sensei. Team 7 had quickly forgotten about the earlier events as their sensei had fainted. We better take him to my house, Tazuna suggested. The 3 nodded. Naruto and Sasuke lifted Kakashi and proceeded to their destination. Sakura sighed. Their mission should be easier now, considering that Zabuza is already dead. But she couldn't get the feeling that something was wrong here. It was all too easy. For that Anbu, that is. She stiffened. Somebody was watching her. Was it that Anbu earlier? Sakura, are you coming with us? Chizuna called out. Sakura snapped back. Hi, coming. She walked on, just ignoring the feeling of being watched. Sakura. A 17-year-old Anbu breathed out as if trying the name for the first time. He was amazed. She was able to sense his presence even with all the commotion going on. He had watched her leave. He would soon find out more about these ninjas from the leaf. Especially this girl named Sakura. Team 7 in training. They were in a room in Chizuna's house. It was small but comfy nonetheless. And his daughter Tsunami had welcomed them with open arms. Everything went well except for that little confrontation with the boy Inari. As Chizuna had told them, the boy's father had died trying to protect this country. Trying to protect this country. Flash. They had died protecting this country. They are heroes. The third announced to everyone during the memorial of her dead parents. Heroes of the village. Their country. They're dead. You're all alone. End flash. Reality hurts. Starting tomorrow we're going to have a more intense training. Sakura looked up to her sensei. His right leg was broken and he had suffered greatly from chakra depletion. But amazingly he was already awake. She was expecting him to wake up after 3 days or so. What kind of training? Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto, who was seated across her, asked. Chakra training. You'll find out soon enough tomorrow. He let out an orange book and went on reading as if he wasn't in a bad condition. Sakura, Naruto and Sasuke sweat dropped. How could he read that thing at a time like this? Hentai. Gigolo. Single quote. Naruto. Sakura and Sasuke thought randomly. Sakura sighed. Was he really serious at this? They were the forest and Kakashi was explaining to them what they were going to do for their training. After that he walked up a tree with his crutches without any hesitation. Amazing. Naruto shouted in awe. Sasuke was also amazed as his eyes slightly widened. Sakura though smiled at his sensei. So he was a bit of a hentai, but judging by the way he was able walked on the tree that easily, she was sure that Kakashi was an excellent ninja. Well, he wasn't an ex-Anbu for nothing. She was happy at that thought. It's never an easy thing to control your chakra. She seems happy. Kakashi thought as he saw Sakura smile at him. Maybe she has a crush on me. Author. AAASSSSIIIIFFFFFF. An echo. Echo in the background. He erased that thought when he swore he heard somebody scream from the distance. He continued his explanation. That of that chakra control is very important to win and get through a battle with other ninjas, and that during battle it is harder to control your chakra. At that your feet is the hardest place in your body to control it. In this training there is a possibility that you might die. Silence reigned. Maintaining chakra in your feet is the hardest place for you to manipulate it. So be careful. He went down from the tree. I want you climb a tree individually by using chakra at your feet. Use a kunai so you can measure how high you can go. Remember your goal is to reach the top of the tree. You may start now. 3 of them took out a kunai, closed their eyes and concentrated hard to put chakra at their feet. Their eyes opened at the same time and at the same moment they climbed up the tree their feet using what chakra they were able to store there. As soon as Naruto had stepped on the bark of the tree he instantly fell backwards, landing painfully on the head. On the other hand Sasuke was able to climb a few feet up but then repelled and landed gracefully on the ground. Sasuke muttered a curse under his breath. But he felt better at himself knowing that Naruto couldn't even step a foot on the tree. The said boy was rubbing his head to get rid of the pain. He frowned as he noticed something. Where was Sakura? Where is she? Did she fall like he did earlier and had landed somewhere in the distance? Was she unconscious due to the fall? His thoughts were random and unknowingly to him his frown deepened. Kakashi shook his head at the scene. Naruto was barely able to store Chakra at his feet, thus he wasn't able to climb even an inch on the tree. While as for the Uchiha, the overstored chakra in his feet repelled him from the tree. There would be a lot of work to be done. Your chakra controls are terrible, Kakashi said casually. Why can't you be more like Sakura up there? He pointed his forefinger upwards and Sasuke's and Naruto's eyes followed to where he was pointing at. Naruto was awed again for the second time that day. As for Sasuke, he gaped. Well, slightly. Sakura was waving down at them from the very top of the tree. Her kunai was impaled to where she was standing. Not a bead of sweat could be found on her beautiful face and she didn't look tired at all. Wow, Sakura-chan, that's amazing. You're a genius. Noro shouted his praise. Whether it was out of the fact that Sakura was high above that he had to shout it out or that was how he really says it. Either way, Sasuke didn't care. He was probably just as surprised as Naruto. What irritated was that Sakura blushed when she heard the blonde shouted like that. Sakura, you can get down now, Kakashi simply said. The after-mentioned girl jumped down from the tree and landed on the grassy earth with grace that would match that of a ballerina. Good job, Sakura. You won't be training with us anymore, seeing that you can control your chakra perfectly. You can just rest under a tree and watch these two fall over and over again. Sakura's sweat dropped. Her sensei had a way of irritating her two teammates, and judging by the way Naruto and Sasuke were flaming, they were clearly very irritated. But she knew it was only to make them strive harder. Maybe she should help Naruto in this. Maybe give him a few tips on how to properly do it. Then maybe getting more close to him. Then at night, they would talk, accidentally bump on each other's shoulders. They would make eye contact, move a little closer, then maybe a beep. Damn, her face was red as those thoughts popped up suddenly in her head. Well, more like in slow motion, like in a romance movie. She cupped her flushed face and shook her head furiously. But it didn't help get the thoughts out of her head. Sakura, are you okay? She stopped shaking her head as she heard the wondered voice of her masked sensei. She slowly turned around, and if any more possible, she turned even redder. They were all staring at her as if she lost her mind. She sweat dropped. She can't blame them. By the way she acted right now, she really did look like she was crazy. Hey, I'll be sitting down now, she said in a low voice and sat under a tree near the others. Damn, again. That was embarrassing. He had seen that look before. The blushing and head shaking after the dreamy look in the eyes. Oh, he had seen it all too often. Look he had seen on his fangirls every time they would ask him out on a date. He knew what they were thinking while having that look. The thought of being with him while making out. Every time he would allow himself to think about it, he would cringe in disgust. But who was she thinking about? It couldn't have been him. She wasn't interested in him. Of course he already had an idea of who it was. He turned to the blonde idiot at his side who was shouting at their silver-haired sensei. As of now he was stronger than him, and he would make sure that he would be. It was suddenly a competition. One that even he wasn't aware of. Sakura's face frowned deeply as she watched her two teammates, as like what their sensei said, fall over and over again. She sighed. At least they were getting better at it. Naruto was finally reaching a few meters higher than 4 hours ago, and Sasuke had reached 5 meters higher than before. But they were wasting too much chakra. She sighed again. She had to hand it to them though. Their determination never quivered, but she could see that frustration was getting the better of them. She cringed as Naruto once again had fallen after another successful attempt. She tried to stop the urge to come to him and aid the scraps and bruises on his face. She knew it would just bother him from his training. She saw him rubbed his butt and stood to stare at the top of the tree. He had that pout on his lips and that annoyed look on his face, which she considers pretty cute. You can do it, Naruto-kun. Inner Sakura screamed inside her head. She smiled to herself, which instantly faded as she saw the boy that she was thinking of earlier coming near her. Her eyes widened and her heart went at a fast pace. Sakura-chan, he screamed as he came nearer. Damn, it was getting hard to breathe. Why couldn't she get used to having him near her? Sakura-chan, can you help me? He asked, stopping in front of her. She blushed. He was so near. She hadn't had him this near to her in normal occasions before. The incident when it rained and when he was wounded wasn't normal. And the time when they had ramen, he wasn't at all that near to her. Why yes, Naruto-kun. She tried not to stutter. Can you please help me how store enough chakra on my feet? Please, he practically begged to her. He was asking for her help. She inhaled deeply. This was her chance and she wasn't going to ruin it because of her uneasiness around him. This is your chance, Sakura. Naruto-kun, I'll be happy to. She smiled, and if only she hadn't closed her eyes while she was smiling, she could have seen the faint blush on his face. Sasuke panted heavily. He was barely able to achieve anything much for the past 4 hours of training. His body was filled with a few scratches and bruises from some of the times that he wasn't able to land on the ground. He could feel himself nearing chakra depletion and knew that soon enough Kakashi would end their training. What was he doing wrong? He was able to store chakra at his feet, and yet as if it was the tree itself that was repelling him. He felt his legs giving in and sat down on the ground after an exhausted sigh. He looked up at how high he was able to reach. The tree was marked with numerous scrapes from his kunai which escalated higher and higher. But not high enough. Not that he wanted to but he just wanted to see how high the Dobi was able to reach. And so he looked up at Naruto's tree. He smirked seeing that the blonde was doing worse than he was. Speaking of which, where was the idiot? He turned his head from side to side trying to see where the blonde idiot was. He might have dropped dead somewhere on the forest floor. Not that he cared. He found him. Talking to Sakura. He was begging about something. Sakura looked nervous but then smiled. The idiot blushed. Sakura said something to him. Naruto frowned, obviously not getting anything of what she said. She said something again, this time more firmly. Naruto thought hard and then nodded, then grinned. He heard him say aloud, "Thank you." Sakura blushed again, said something to him. Naruto just laughed. It all happened so fast that Sasuke's tired mind didn't have time to analyze any of it. Obviously Naruto had asked some help on their training. Maybe he should ask some help as well. No, he didn't need any help. He wasn't like Naruto, who couldn't do any better than him. As he tried his best to get up, he noticed how Sakura would smile at her spot at Naruto. Does she really like him? He got up and breathed in. What does she see in him? He stored up some chakra at his feet. It's not like I care, but with a kunai in one hand he climbed up the tree using whatever amount of chakra he had left. 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, 7, and he was repelled back again. Damn. He landed not so softly on the ground and muttered another soft curse. Naruto went back to his spot after talking to Sakura, still having a grin on his face. Sasuke tried to stop himself from hitting the boy senseless. He thought for a while and made up his mind. He knew he might regret this afterwards. He stood up and faced him. Naruto. The said boy stared at him, surprise on his face since this was probably the first time he talked to him without quarreling. What is it, Sasuke? His right eyebrow twitched. He tried to calm down. This was for the sake of getting stronger. Can you tell me, man, this was harder than he thought. Can you tell me what Sakura told you earlier? He asked in a low voice. Naruto stared at the Uchiha wide-eyed. Did he just hear it right? The human ice cube was asking for help. You're asking for my help. The Uchiha frowned. Not your help. I'm just asking what Sakura told you earlier. Oh, Naruto grinned. So you're curious on what we're talking earlier, He teased. Much to Sasuke's disgust, he could feel his cheeks heat up. So it's true then. You're jealous, aren't you? Naruto continued. Dobi, I knew you were asking her about our training. I just want to know what she said. He defended as he tried to stop his cheeks from betraying him. So that was it. HMPH. And why should I tell you? Dobi, why don't you ask her yourself? He could just ask Sakura instead of this idiot. But that would mean facing her, and it didn't feel right to ask help from a girl. Besides from that, the last time he was face to face with her he couldn't breathe well. Because you already asked her and it wouldn't be right if she'd be asked again. He reasoned, a lie of course. Alright, you have a point. Sasuke thanked the gods, if there were any, that Naruto was born an idiot for believing him. Sakura-chan, there was that annoying Chan again. He frowned. Why are you frowning? Nothing. As I was saying, Sakura-chan didn't really give me instruction on how to do it. She just said that I should just relax and ignore everything around me. Then feel one with the tree. She said that I shouldn't push the chakra towards the tree but make it flow within the tree or something like that. It was Naruto's turn to frown this time. I don't get it though. Shouldn't push the chakra towards the tree but make it flow within the tree. Sasuke repeated. Yo, Kakashi appeared from nowhere, making Naruto jump to his feet. Kakashi-sensei. Where the hell did you came from? He screamed. From the road of life. His sensei said. Oh, shut the crap on that road of life shit. Naruto said, ready to pound him. Okay, come on. Training for this day is over. We will continue this tomorrow. Hopefully you'll do better by then. And went ahead of them to Tazuna's house. Naruto was about to complain. But, no buts. Like I said earlier, if you abuse yourself in your chakra control, there will be a possibility that you would die. You can't become a Hokage if you're dead. Naruto stopped. His sensei words made a point. And so the rest followed. Sakura stood up from her spot. Finally it was over. She looked over at Naruto and made a mental note to tend to his wounds when they back. Sasuke came into her view. ND thought that she should help him as well with his wounds. If he would allow me. Whether he'd allow her or not, she still has to do so. Even though the Uchiha is a cold bastard, he still is her teammate. Her heart skipped a beat when he caught her staring at him. She couldn't look away. She had to do something, and so she did what comes naturally to her. She smiled. Sasuke was surprised that she smiled at him. He was expecting her to look away, instead it was him who looked away with a scowl on his face. As of before, he couldn't handle her smile. Sakura frowned. She smiled politely at and yet he looked away from her as if he was disgusted. Was he still thinking that she had a crush at him? The nerve. Stupid Uchi. She stopped midway and looked up. It was there for a moment, but then it disappeared as fast as it came. That chakra pattern. Uy. Sakura-chan, let's go. Naruto called. She snapped out of her thoughts. It couldn't be. He was already dead. Coming Naruto-kun. But she couldn't erase that feeling. Something was up. To be continued, and thank you for watching.